Now on CoastTV News.
States of emergency declared. Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia taking action ahead of the weekend storm, what it means for emergency operations on Delmarva. Power prep. Electric companies brace for ice-related outages this weekend. And propane is selling fast, why you should not wait to secure backup fuel before the storm hits.
As we track the latest twists and turns of this winter storm this weekend, we're going to update you on the increasing concern for ice as well as a snow mixed with rain.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Here's a live look outside into Milford, where snow is expected to kick in late Saturday night. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. We begin with all eyes on this impending winter storm. And we're going to first check in with Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams on the expected snow totals. Paul.
Well, we are keeping a close eye on tracking this dangerous storm over the weekend, and right now we're more concerned about the new formation of ice that's popping up on some of the latest model runs. We are expecting 4 to 7 inches of snow likely throughout the area in general, a little bit less for us towards Ocean Pines and Ocean View, 3 to 6 with a mix there. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about the changeover as far as from snow to sleet and how fast that's now becoming.
All right, thank you, Paul. And new tonight, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer has now declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm. It's going to take effect on Sunday. It allows for the mobilization of resources, including the Delaware National Guard. Maryland Governor Wes Moore declaring a state of emergency earlier today, and Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger did so yesterday. Tonight, DelDOT getting ready to head out on the roads with brine and salt. The department's plow trucks are staged. They're ready to go when the snow starts falling. Now, this room you're looking at is key for DelDOT. You're looking inside the Sussex County Emergency Operations Center in Georgetown. The EOC gets activated for winter storms like this weekend to give agencies like DelDOT, also local fire departments and the National Guard, an up-close look at the storm. And it makes communication easy. Brandon Ferguson takes us inside the EOC and shows us just how much brine DelDOT has out right now.
Empty chairs in the Sussex County Emergency Operations Center that will be filled on Sunday. Robert Murray, Sussex County Public Safety Director, says representatives from different agencies being in person makes all the difference.
We're going to ask our DelDOT partners to come in, the National Guard partners to come in, Red Cross. We have seats here for the power companies, Delaware Electric Co-op, as well as Delmarva Power, EMS. So each of those organizations will have representation or can have representation here in the facilities.
Murray says the main areas of this storm they are focusing on is the snow overnight into Sunday morning and freezing rain late Sunday night, resulting in icy roads for early next week.
We started planning with state agencies, with DEMA, yesterday with state calls, and then also holding some local calls with our local fire companies, local EMS agencies, as well as all the municipalities in Sussex County. Really planning and trying to get an assessment on what needs we're going to be and what we plan to do over the weekend for the storm.
To the roads. You will see DelDOT tankers putting down brine like this one. The smaller tanks hold 1,000 gallons, and the biggest tanks DelDOT has hold 6,000 gallons of brine.
DelDOT says they have 50,000 tons of salt available, and I just want you to take a look at this massive barn here in Georgetown filled with salt. The communications director for DelDOT tells us they expect to use anywhere from 5 to 10,000, yes, 10,000 tons of salt for this winter storm.
The Emergency Operations Center is prepped, as are the roads for this winter storm heading straight for Sussex County. For CoastTV.
Brandon Ferguson reporting there, and DelDOT tells us they'll start plowing what they call primary roads like Coastal Highway and Route 113 first. Then they'll move to secondary roads. That includes Route 9 and Route 24. Meanwhile, utility companies across Delmarva on alert. Officials say the mix of snow and ice could affect power lines. Delmarva Power and the Delaware Electric Co-op say they already have crews on standby and emergency plans ready. Officials say crews will be monitoring the storm to respond quickly if the lights go out.
In the event that the ice does impact the infrastructure in a negative way, just know that if they report the outage, we're working as fast as we safely can to do it and to use those materials as emergency kits so they've prepared to stay safe and warm until we're able to safely restore the power for them.
Both utility companies tell us you can report outages using their apps, by phone, or online, and they add that crews will be on standby 24/7 to monitor conditions and assist if the power does go out. Also, concerns about possible power outages are driving neighbors across Delaware to stock up on propane. Local hardware stores say demand has surged with long lines wrapping around buildings as people try to prepare before the weather moves in. One hardware store owner in Felton says he's never seen this level of demand for propane.
For the last 3 days, we've had people here from before we opened till long after we closed. The line, the pump has never shut off. The propane pump is run all day long, just trying to keep people filled back up.
Officials are urging people to limit travel once the storm begins, so any last-minute items like food or snowstorm supplies should be gathered now to be prepared. Speaking of, shoppers packing Delmarva grocery stores today ahead of the wintry weather. Hot commodities seem to be things like bread, eggs, milk, and of course toilet paper. Denise Moyland says she went out to the store early today to avoid any panicked shoppers.
I mean, our house is stocked. I'm from the Baltimore area, so I'm used to snow, and it doesn't panic me like it does a lot of people, where they clean the shelves of eggs, milk, and bread. I have plenty at home. We're just out here just nosing around, just trying to, do a little bit of shopping.
Yeah, don't panic, just be prepared. Some shoppers tell us they're actually having to go to multiple stores to cross everything off of their lists. And now that we're about to get hit with a lot of snow, some of it might have a layer of ice on top of it, and many of us have our shovels ready. Some of us, though, should not be using those shovels. Reporter Tim Furlong has more on folks who probably shouldn't shovel and safety tips for those who can and will be out there this weekend.
With this amount of snow, it's likely one of the biggest workouts most people will do this winter.
Cody is a physical therapist with Omega Project in Delaware. He says if you're gonna shovel, do it in shorter but more frequent sessions instead of waiting to shovel a ton of snow and ice at one time. He says to stretch before and after, take more smaller scoops rather than fewer bigger ones, and above all, use good form. No big twists and tosses.
Break it into two pieces, right? Bend at the knees and hips, shovel some snow, stand up out of that, and then walk the snow to where you need to put it to get it out of the way.
Also make sure you're dressed for the elements. So check this out. Whenever you go out to shovel, these temperatures are just absolutely bitter cold. So make sure you shovel in short shifts, dress in layers, wear moisture wicking clothes instead of cotton if possible. And every time you come back inside to warm up, change out of those clothes completely and put on fresh, dry clothes. A sore back isn't the worst case scenario you could face while shoveling. A heart attack is. Dr. Henley is a cardiologist with St. Francis Hospital in Wilmington.
The strain of lifting heavy snow, wet snow, or even ice puts a significant amount of your strain on your body that I can't even begin to replicate if I even did a stress test on you. That combined with that cold air that can constrict and stress blood vessels, it's a perfect storm for someone to have a heart attack and even cardiac arrest.
The American Heart Association says for folks 45 and over, you're at higher risk of shoveling-related heart problems, so don't do it. Everyone else, try to take it slow and push snow instead of lifting it as much as possible. Sunday is not the day to decide it's time for a huge workout in the snow. Dr. Henley is lovely, but hopefully you won't have to meet her at the hospital.
Sunday will not be your day, or you may have to come see someone that's like me.
I'm Tim Furlong, Coast TV News.
And with all the cold weather, the risk of frostbite is going up here on coastal Delmarva. Doctors say smokers and people with pre-existing circulatory diseases are at higher risk for skin exposure. Bay Health tells us tingling, numbness, and pale skin are signs it's time to get inside. However, frostbite does not reveal itself the same way with everyone.
Timelines would be the same depending on skin color and skin type. Obviously, with the darker complexion somebody has, the more difficult it might be to see redness or paleness. But that's where the feel comes in, that numbness, that tingling. Sometimes the skin can develop a leathery feel to it or a lack of sensation. Those are big warning signs. Definitely kind of get out of the cold at that point.
Let's go ahead and take a live look into Lewis and check back in with Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams now.
Well, right now we are continuing to brace for about 4 to 7 inches of snow along Highway 13, and then actually from 13 all the way up towards the Lewis area. And then we have the divider line here that's going to allow for 3 to 6 inches of snow. And we're looking for an early mix to occur in that instance. Now, as you travel well to the north throughout portions of Newcastle, we're looking for at least 9 inches of snow and it's likely to stay snow throughout that part of the state. Now, here's a brief view of what we're expecting. By 11 o'clock Saturday, we'll start getting the snow beginning. And now we'll freeze it at about 4:30. This is where we're looking at estimates of 3.5 in Selbyville, near that in Berlin, Long Neck. But ultimately, we should peak at about 7.5 to 8, generally speaking, according to this model run that we're looking at this present time. And as you take a look at the timing of it, midnight, this is where we're looking at the snow. Now, we're noticing that we're staying snow until we get to, let's say, 1:30, about the lunchtime hour. That's when we see it changing over to actually freezing rain or possibility of sleet. And then the green you see here is actually reminiscent closer to where the center of the low pressure system is located, and it begins to change all the way over towards actual rain. So we're getting more of a changeover to rain, and this is going to hit before the evening hours for Sunday. As this begins to pull out of the way, we go into Monday, we have an additional layer of sleet to accompany that. Coming up next, we'll talk about this in even more detail from town to town as far as the changeover from snow to rain.
All right, thanks, Paul. And we're going to go to our Coast TV poll now. We're asking, what are you worried about with the storm coming? Let's look at the results. 78% worried about ice and sleet, 9% say heavy snow, 13% worried about that dangerous cold. And we do have a comment from Mike in Dagsboro tonight who says low temperatures increase heating costs and pose a danger during power outages. Thanks, Mike. And if you want to leave a comment, you want to still vote, you can do that. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. And be sure to download that Coast TV app for your phone or your tablet ahead of the weekend storm. Also, if you don't know, you can get the Coast TV streaming app for your TV. If you have Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, we're going to stream weather updates throughout the entire weekend. That includes a special winter storm coverage newscast from our sister station WBOC on Sunday morning starting at 8. And we are just getting started. More news coming up ahead, including a county controversy. Wicomico partners with ICE. What's changing? But first, even in the snow, there are still some cool things to do. We'll break them down for you next. And a bit later, Paul Williams with your full forecast. He's tracking everything in the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center right now.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
So everything I was going to tell you about for cool things this week is now canceled because if you don't know by now, it's going to snow this weekend. So I decided to compile a list of cool things to do in the snow.
First up, build a snowman. It's a classic snow activity. You probably have everything you need already, some buttons, a carrot, a hat, a scarf, and you don't have to build a giant snowman, just build a little one. Another classic, snow angels. You can also have a friendly snowball fight. Or not friendly, that's up to you. And there's not too many hills here in southern Delaware, but if you find one, you can go sledding. Or you can build an igloo if you're feeling ambitious. It's time-consuming, it's hard work, but everyone will think it's super cool. And if you need any advice, just email Charlie Sakaitis. Rumor has it he once lived in an igloo in Alaska. If you're young and able, shovel your neighbor's driveway. Or watch Coast TV because we'll be out in the snow all weekend.
So if you get bored this weekend and you need a refresher, you can find this list over on coasttv.com under Cool Things to Do.
So we're still staying with what we were looking at a little bit earlier this afternoon, going into the evening time. Not much of a change here. We're still expecting between 4 to 7 inches of snow along Highway 13 and throughout the central and western portions of the county. And then we're also looking for an influx of ice that's going to actually add as another additional layer of concern as this storm begins to crank up. Now we're also expecting at least 3 to 6 inches. I'm leaning more so towards 6 actually for Ocean Pines, Ocean View. And because of the flow of air that's going to come off of the water, I'm looking at that changeover ahead of schedule than our initial models indicated, and we expecting possibly 9 or more inches to our north. Now for Saturday, bone chilling sub-zero temperature wind chills, winter storm warning in effect. For Sunday, really in the early morning hours, like as soon as we go from Saturday night to Sunday morning, that's when we're expecting for the snow to really start to really kick in and move at a rate of about, let's say, 1 to perhaps even 2 inches per hour. And then for Monday, we're looking for a few early morning showers, snow showers, but really it's about the cold by the time we get to Monday. You see, Saturday, we start setting the stage for, it's going to feel like the wind chill is going to be below zero, period. And then we're going to be single digits most of the day till we get to Sunday morning. It's a little bit better with the winds coming out of the northeast. Now, as you take a look, our expectation as we go into 1 o'clock in the morning, we can see overspreading of snow showers throughout the entire region. We have this flow of air that's coming off of the water. Now, that extra bit of moisture that's going to be the result of the perfect positioning of the low pressure system will help create that strong flow that's going to help to push temperatures up a little bit. Now, before the sun comes up, we're still below freezing. At 7:30, we're below freezing. But notice how we begin to creep into the realm of sleet. 34, we just above freezing Berlin as well as Ocean City, but we're still looking at snow developing until 9 o'clock. By 10 o'clock, we're looking for the sleet to overtake the entire region, and then it changes over to rain, straight rain, because we'll have this push coming off the water. We'll push the temperatures above freezing, well above freezing. So the timing of it is kind of like this, breaking it down in different portions of the county. 11 o'clock, we're looking at the snow showers to get a brief break and then overspreading with heavier snow showers from Salisbury up towards Seaford. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the same situation. 6:30, everybody gets a piece of the pie. And then it changes over very quickly by mid-morning, and then we're changing over to rain before we hit lunchtime. Now, as far as the amounts are concerned, we're going to be near 5 inches by 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we're looking by the time we get to noon Sunday, clocking about 8 inches there. We go to the beaches, and the story is very similar, just a little bit different with the timing. For Saturday night, temperatures in the 20s. With the snow, widespread snow, heavier snow showers will hit Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, and Long Neck by 1:30 Sunday. Then we have heavy snow showers everywhere by 3:30. And then as we go into 6:30, we're staying very strong with the snow, but then we change over to sleet by 9:30 in Milton, Long Neck, and Bethany Beach, and then we go all the way over towards rain. And the amounts, once again, hovering between 7 to up to even upgraded up to about 6 to 7 inches. And then we have ice. We're looking at significant ice, possibly a half an inch for us developing over in Cambridge and over a tenth over in Denton. That being said, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We have a red alert day for Sunday, so be sure you download our app.
Thanks again, Paul. And the major winter blast expected to affect millions of people over the next few days is actually saving jobs, at least for the time being. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is halting the layoffs of disaster workers for those whose contracts were set to expire soon. According to a pair of sources close to the situation, the looming storm was the main reason that the job cuts were paused. No word on how long it will be before the dismissals will resume, but sources say about 300 disaster workers were let go this month. A partnership with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, nearly a done deal now in Wicomico County. This morning, County Executive Julie Giordano revealed the county will be entering into a 287G agreement with ICE. Officers with the Wicomico County Department of Corrections will take part in the warrant service officer model, assisting ICE with serving warrants to illegal immigrants already in jail.
The 287G warrant service officer model does not, and I repeat, does not authorize street-level immigration enforcement, traffic stops, or random checks. It applies only to individuals who are already in custody and subject to valid federal warrants. This is about targeting dangerous offenders. It is about repeat criminals.
The Wicomico County NAACP, though, raising questions here, telling us, quote, public safety is built on trust, not fear-mongering. The Delmarva Discovery Center in Pocomoke City is asking the public for help. The museum launching a GoFundMe as rising costs squeeze day-to-day operations and animal care. Staff say caring for their river otters, Mac and Tuck, is a daily commitment that cannot be paused, from feeding to cleaning and enrichment.
It wasn't an easy decision to start the GoFundMe campaign. We wanted to make sure that we didn't send the wrong message out to the community, but the reality is we are really struggling.
The museum says it's competing with hundreds of other nonprofits for the same grants and donors. Workers say even basics like fish for the otters have gotten more expensive. Coming up in sports, the University of Delaware football team is building its roster for next season. The Delmarva Sports Network introduces us to UD's latest addition from the transfer portal. And coming up, allies angry with President Trump. International pushback from leaders in the UK, France, and Hungary. New tonight, the city of Lewis postponing its first ever State of the Community Forum because of the expected winter weather. The event was originally set for Tuesday, January 27th. It's now going to be held Tuesday, February 17th from 5 to 7 at Lewis Elementary School on Savannah Road. Registration will stay open and people are encouraged to submit questions online ahead of time. Also new tonight, Delaware State Police have arrested 66-year-old Douglas Clay and 59-year-old Kenneth Peters, both from Millsboro, for felony drug and weapon charges following a search warrant in Millsboro. DSP says the search warrant was obtained following an investigation of both people for the distribution of illegal narcotics from the home. And Milford police have identified 81-year-old Marie-Therese Santilma of Magnolia as the woman hit and killed by a car on Monday. Police say just after 6:30 a.m. a BMW was heading north on North Rehoboth Boulevard, that's near Purdue, when Santilma was hit. Police say she walked into the road into the path of the car. President Trump back in Washington today after a whirlwind week in Switzerland, rattling European allies. He backed off the threat of using military force against Greenland, but still says negotiations of a future deal are happening. As NBC's Monica Alba reports, after his latest interview, allies are angry with the president.
President Trump back in the country after a whirlwind trip to Davos.
I think the trip was great,
where he softened his tone on owning Greenland and announced a framework for a future deal regarding the Arctic island.
We can do military, we can do anything we want, and it's being negotiated, and let's see what happens. I think it'll be good.
Though the U.S. always had the ability to expand its military presence. But while Mr. Trump left Switzerland with a potential plan, he also left allies feeling bruised after his aggressive talk to control the Danish territory. While that tension has been eased a bit, allies now angry over his comments on NATO soldiers helping the U.S.
We have never really asked anything of them. You know, they'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little back, a little off the front lines.
Under NATO's Article 5, an attack against one country is an attack against all. It's only been invoked once, after the 9/11 attacks. Mr. Trump's words didn't sit well with allies who sent and lost troops in Afghanistan.
Let me start by paying tribute to the 457 of our armed services who lost their lives in Afghanistan. And so I consider President Trump's remarks to be insulting and frankly appalling.
Our agencies, our forces, our politicians, we all stood together, shoulder to shoulder, and responded. On Afghanistan, frankly, this is utterly ridiculous.
French and Hungarian officials also pushed back on the president's statement, saying both countries joined in the fight after 9/11 and both sides lost troops and they should be respected. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Up in Newark, Delaware football is busy in the transfer portal. UD's most recent addition provides beat to the trenches in the form of offensive tackle Jack Small, an ironic name for a player who stands 6'8" and weighs 310 pounds, and he transfers into the Blue Hens program via Duke. We're showing you some of his high school footage right now because he did not play much with the Blue Devils, who ended up being a really good team this past season. You might have heard about our coverage of Duke, more specifically one of their best players, one of their starting players, Luke Murgott, who used to be a Steve Decatur Seahawk and was very big for them in the ACC championship win against Virginia. But what do you need to know about his former teammate and now a UD player in Jack Small? He's still got 4 seasons of eligibility left, although he spent 2 years with Duke. We already told you that he's got the size, but he does not necessarily have the experience yet. He'd only played 3 snaps in his collegiate career across 2 different games. That's why he still has all that eligibility left in the tank. But he was heavily recruited to go to Duke way back in the day. He was a 3-star recruit per multiple of the top recruiting services in the country, including 24/7 Sports, ESPN.com, and Rivals.com. So Ryan Carty, the head coach of Delaware, banking on developing this 6'8" offensive tackle into one of the cornerstones of his offensive line for the next few years. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, Delmarva.
Now here's a live look into Ocean City. We've got one more check on your forecast right after the break.
I want to recap what we've been taking a look at as far as the storm is concerned. We're still expecting a widespread amount of snow throughout the entire peninsula, and we're becoming even more so concerned about the likelihood of ice that's going to develop, particularly along Highway 13. We anticipate 4 to 7 inches of snow there, and then for the coastal region, 3 and leaning towards 6 actually there, and then well to our north 9. We're under a winter storm warning that's still in effect for our immediate area down towards Ocean Pines, and then we have freezing spay advisory along with gale force winds that's going to be circulating. We can feel the winds being very blustery right now, even as we speak. Our umbrella giveaway winner, Linda Kroger of Georgetown. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis. You can be sure to keep up with your forecast with our weather line. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Be sure you download our app so we can keep you updated throughout the weekend.
Be sure to download that app. Thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can find more news, more weather on that Coast TV News app, and The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next. We're back tomorrow at 5 a.m. Have a great night.